Hey there, Piss Drinker Nation. Today is a special cat on the fridge version of our show review thing, whatever I should call it. And we are going to experience the Stoneface APA American Pale Ale. Stoneface is a pretty new brewery from New Hampshire, and they just started being shipped into Massachusetts. I've only had their regular IPA, which I liked quite a bit, and it seems like they're kind of part of the new wave of juicy hazy IPAs that I love that are being made in New England. And I'm interested to see if this one will be as hoppy as their IPA. I'm betting it will be. And it's hopped with Falconer's Flight, which is actually not one specific variety of hops. It's the 7 C hops, the classic C hops of, I believe it's Columbus, Crystal, Cascade, Centennial, Cluster, and I'm missing one other one. And then they also use some experimental hops. It's from Hop Union, from the Pacific Northwest, where they take all the classic hops that start with C, and then they throw in some other experimental hops. So it's always changing a little bit for each year. I've never actually been able to try enough beers that were just hopped with the Falconer's Flight blend over the years to notice any change, but it'd be interesting to see how it changes from year to year. And this is 5.6% alcohol. It doesn't have a bottling date on it, and I'm pretty sure that their IPA didn't either, so I don't think I'm going to spend too much time looking for it. I do see a batch number. What I think is a batch number, it just has like 5 zeros and then it says 113, so I'm guessing that means the 113th batch of this IPA they've made, or APA. And I just bought it today, and I just saw it at the liquor store that I went to for the first time today, so I assume it's probably really fresh. Very golden, like most of the beer I tend to drink. Whoa, pretty good sized head there, and pretty darn hazy. I noticed that a lot of the haze was sticking at the bottom of the bottle, but it got turned up, I guess, in that pour. I feel like the IPA was a little bit clearer than this, but maybe I'm not remembering right. But I think there's plenty of carbonation, and the head is pretty massive. I poured with some vigor, but not that hard, it didn't seem. Very soapy. It's a very good smell, but it's a little bit more of the classic American hop aroma, which is what I would expect from all those C hops. It's very grassy and floral, a touch woody, not super juicy, but definitely some orange juice going on in there. Not super bitter smelling, but it smells very fresh, and it smells like they were going for a very juicy and mostly aromatic hop experience. It's not going to be extremely resinous and bitter. It smells just very refreshing. It almost reminds me of just a teensy bit of Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. But I'm guessing this is way hoppier and not as malty. Sierra Nevada is a similar color, but theirs definitely has some crystal or caramel malt happening that gives it a good amount of sweetness. This one I'm not really expecting to be very sweet. But very hoppy, perfumey smell that almost makes you think maybe of European hops. It's not quite as grassy as like a Zotz hop or something, and not quite as woody as European or British hops. But it's almost starting to make my mouth water, so. Yeah, juicy, but juicy like a mixture of like pear juice and orange juice Just a little bit of tropical fruitiness happening. It's a very light body, very dry and refreshing. The carbonation actually isn't too high. It just has really great head retention, as you can see. Yeah, the really floral, fresh, green quality in this beer almost reminds me of some fresh hopped beers I've had, and I like that a lot. Definitely, there's a little bit of bitterness after 2 sips there, but it's got an herbal, oily quality to the finish that's not super piney or like chewing on citrus pith. It's not that kind of intense bitterness. It's not raking my tongue with the bitterness, but it's firm, and it's a little woody too. Woods and herbs is what I'm getting. And the fruitiness is very crab apple-y, pear-like, citrusy. Yeah, lemon, lime, and orange. And very refreshing. Got a firm bitterness. I think I read the brewery said that this is on the edge of being something like a session IPA. And I would probably agree with that, but these terms are all kind of useless when it comes to the beer hitting your lips. Really refreshing. This is something that I would love to get lots of in the summer. And I read that it's actually a winter seasonal from them, probably just because they don't make very much. So it's like, oh, we'll make this. So hopefully I'll be able to get it some more. But the bitterness builds up quite a bit. They could have called us a session IPA and everyone would have been fine with that. But they probably want to designate it from their IPA a little bit more. But I really appreciate their use of the Falconer's Flight in this and bringing a slightly older American hop flavor into the newer style of this New England hazy, very aromatic, juicy beers. It's got a little bit of texture from the yeastiness, but it's not quite like any super hazy Trillium or Night Shift IPAs, where I feel like they'd use some wheat in that one too. This one I think it's probably mostly just 2-row pale malt. I don't know if they throw a specialty malt in there, probably something, but only a teeny bit. The malty toastiness is like that, the Cheerios kind of toastiness. It blends with the herbal, woody qualities of the hops very nicely, and they don't battle with each other. They come together in a very nice way. Let's see what happens when I add some more of this yeast on the bottom. And the head comes right back up. No, I think I got most of it in there. Yeah, it's quite a bit hazier now. It's almost totally opaque. Cannot see through that. But there aren't any really dark malt flavors I'm getting from this. It's mostly crackery malt. I really appreciate them bringing the classic American hop varieties into the new decade, I guess, and not quite century, more of a new decade. And it has just all of the aromas that I've been sniffing in IPAs since I started getting into them years ago. And things like roses and flowers. This is one where you really need to, I need to brush up on my knowledge of specific floral aromas, so I can know if like this has, honeysuckle or is it exactly rose? I think it's rose. It reminds me of rose. It's not quite hibiscus. It's not like, I don't know if I get a lot of berries out of this one. maybe a little bit of like sumac or something like that. But it's not gonna blast your mouth with huge bitterness, nor give you a very big mouth feel. There's not really much sweetness that would make this very juicy. Just because of that amazing fresh floral complexity of this, I gotta give it a pretty good score. At least 8. 8 could be higher. And I know I give a lot of high scores in these reviews, but that's because for these reviews I review the beers that I know are going to be interesting and I'm going to like for the most part. Because if I review a beer that I don't expect to like very much, and I don't like it, I'm not going to have much to say about it, and it's going to be kind of boring. But maybe it'll be fun. Maybe I should pick something and I can make fun of it for 10 minutes on camera. But Stoneface, everyone in New England, taste these guys' beer. It's good.